Welcome to this portion of our service, which is the discussion after the message, which I found today so powerful. I was like shaking when I was seeing these things jump out of the page at me. And I said, oh my goodness, why can't the world just see it? It's not complicated. It's difficult, but not complicated. It's simple. I read it to Mina, and she was jumping up and down. I mean, she was weeping, and she said, we have to send it out everywhere. The whole world needs to listen to this message. And if the whole world listened to our God, oh my goodness, what a different world it would be.
It's obviously not, you have to be touched before you can respond to it. You have to receive it. So it may seem simple, but it's gibberish to somebody who isn't touched by it.
Exactly. I mean, Abram didn't know God until God revealed himself to him. It's the same with everyone in the Torah, until somehow God opens our eyes, opens our ear, touches our hearts. And but I thank God that there's a remnant. It's like Elijah was told when he was in such desperations that he was running away from Jezebel, and God said to him, I've put aside 7,000 who have not bent the knee to Baal. So what we need to make sure is we don't bend our knee to Baal, and that God will protect us as the world. Unfortunately, a lot of these natural disasters, so we think, a lot of the things going on in the world. Deborah said, she sent me an article about how, let me see if I can find it. It has to do with, they called a National Jew-hating Day in the United States of America. Can you believe that?
Let me see. By the white supremacists.
By the white, she says it's white supremacists, but to tell you the truth, I'm not sure if that's what it says. But let me see if I can find it. It's absolutely shocking. Anyway, while I look for it, does anybody have anything they want to add?
Just to continue what you said, like it's such a beautiful, the idea of the cherubim surrounding the ark, like the link between our earthly life and the beautiful life of the spiritual life, and how in each one of us, God is among us. He's with us.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. I know even in all our sufferings and things we go through, this is reality. This is the beauty, the walk with God. That's why simple things, like in my life, when simple things are so beautiful, even like an apple, like I've told you, an apple or a turnip. I know it sounds crazy, but I just sometimes we'll look at an apple or touch an apple and it's bursting with life. How God is given us these things and the radiant with life and his presence in even very earthly things. I love it.
Especially earthly things. And what he was showing us with the Mishkan, he showed Moses the pattern. He showed Moses what it was going to look like and it was some type of either a copy or something from the heavenly realm. We don't understand because we've never seen it.
The sapphire throne.
The sapphire throne. I mean, it's, people are so busy looking for the mystical things, where in Deuteronomy, it says, Deuteronomy 29, the secret things belong to God, and what he's given us is what we need to know. So we don't have to go far. To me, it's mystical that God would speak to Moses from a burning bush.
But that's what I was just going to say. Mystical is not, depends how you look at it. We are filled with the mystical.
Right, exactly.
Read about the sapphire throne. Now, if that's not mystical, nothing is.
Yeah.
So, and to me, it's not a separation, but it's when you start, to almost embellish the mystical and add your own ceremonies and mystical this. It's where the presence of God is the most mystical reality of all.
But it's a way of creating a facade of spirituality. And I have found, and I was one of those, I was so spiritual, But my life, my physical life on this planet was a mess. I couldn't deal with anything. So as we start to deal with our physical walk, because God built that Mishkan that he would dwell among us to show us that we're here on this earth. Yeshua himself said, we're in it, we're not of it.
Right.
We have to take care of the mundane. It's in bringing order into our lives in the smallest ways, organizing our kitchen, making sure our house is neat, keeping order around us. When we create order,
I find that as I felt in my walk with God, getting stronger or whatever, as it continues, it's not that, well, for me, it's not that I clean the house and then my desire to clean the house coupled with at the same time the experience of God within me. So it's not like, oh, just clean I know what you're saying, but
no, it's when we're a mess on the inside, our
shows
outside is generally a mess.
Yeah.
We don't have the koyach, we don't have the energy to clean, we don't have the energy to put any order in anything. We're spent. But when
I'm saying it happens at the same time.
Exactly.
Which I find amazing.
Yeah. But it begins on the inside. The Mishkan itself had no attraction on the outside. People were not attracted. It was made of goats and ram skins on the outside.
Right.
So people wouldn't covet what was in there. They didn't know what was in it. But what was inside, people spend so much time on their outer look, trying to hold on to, this fountain of youth and be beautiful forever, but their insides are empty. That's not what God wants.
No.
The inside, the kavanah, the intention, the heart of the person needs to shine the beauty that he puts in us. We are supposed to be a living testimony for him that he exists. And all we can do is live each day at a time and see what God, it's not what happens to us in our lives, because we all go through struggles and trials and testing, and in times want to give up, and times we don't think we can take one more step. And then something just happens that shows he's there and we get through it. So it's really one step at a time, one day at a time.
Yeah.
And he knows what we need to break the pride that is in us. If we're not willing to look at it ourselves, we will suffer the consequences of not being willing.
That's for sure.
That's for sure. And that's why we need to say, I remember Rabbi Percy would always say, pray, Lord, search my heart, try me, know my thoughts, see if there's any wicked way within me, and lead me into your everlasting way. And I do that because we can't see ourselves. And we can't always rely on the people around us to tell us what they see in us, because many people won't. Maybe they're afraid. It's difficult. But as we change ourselves, our outside world changes, and our relationships with people who we were having difficulty with change as we have left difficulty with ourselves. It's really amazing how it really begins with us. We're like a universe within ourselves. It's amazing. So does anybody else have anything that they got out of the message? Do you want to add? I know our talkers are not here, Mauricio and Angel. So, and everybody else is being very quiet. Well, we will, Rhonda, you have something to say? Did you learn anything from today's message?
I wanted
sorry.
Yes, Alejandro.
Thank you so much for the message, Peggy.
You're welcome.
I wanted to share on something a bit small.
Good. Can you put your picture on so we can see you?
No, I want to
okay. You're not like me.
To record that.
Okay.
Okay. It's because something I learned about the Parashat Terumah. Terumah means offering, and Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It's offering and also elevation.
Yes.
So when God asked to the people of Israel to bring all the things to build the Mishkan, the Mishkan, he asked to have the heart, voluntary heart,
A willing heart.
willing heart, and
Yes.
all the good things like gold, silver, precious stones, and that teaches us that we can give all the best on us. When we give something, we have to give the best.
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, that's why it started with gold and then silver and then brass. It begins
exactly.
with yes.
But it's necessary the heart.
Yes.
To put your heart in that, because sometimes we confund the tzedakah with generosity, and it's not the same.
We confuse giving
tzedakah with generosity.
Okay.
But it's not the same. Tzedakah needs generosity, but its generosity itself is more than tzedakah, because when we do tzedakah, it's a mitzvah. It's because God asked to do tzedakah to help the people that need. Okay,
right.
But generosity we can put in all the things, all the areas of the life. For example,
yes,
to give our time,
right,
to give our home,
right,
receive people at home,
right,
give our food, give our talents.
Yes,
we have talents, and it's not the talents is not for us. It's
right.
to share with others.
Exactly.
That is generosity, and
yes.
that we can be elevated, because when we share that, we put the name of God in high.
Yes.
Okay, that is what we should share.
That's beautiful, and that's what true service is. You know, the Kohanim were called to be servants, and we were to be a nation of servants, a nation of Kohanim, and we serve others. God gave us these talents for us to give it to others. You're absolutely right.
Exactly, and when it's not only give, because all the people can give generosity to us also, because we are not. It's like the offering. You remember the shekel, the half shekel. We need to give half shekel.
Yes.
Why a half shekel? Because one half to one half made one. That is that speak about the big community. Because your talent and my talent, that together be the name of God is higher.
Beautiful. And also we have to look at, why are we giving? You know, it's a responsibility. Are we giving because we want to be appreciated? Oh, look how nice she is. Oh, look how good she is. She's giving. That's the idea. You know, that's a false reason to give. If you're giving because you think you're going to get something back, that's another reason we shouldn't be giving. But we're human. I mean, these things always come up in us. So the motivation needs to be just a willingness of heart to give, because we know how much God loves us. And this takes a long time. This is a process. It doesn't happen overnight.
Thank you. Go ahead, Rhonda.
No, Rhonda just usually comes on to say goodbye.
Bye, Rhonda.
But it's going to be
Have a
Rhonda.
nice,
But it's going to be a
safe
3-week goodbye.
safe trip.
Safe trip, Rhonda.
Yeah, we wish you a
We
safe
love you,
trip.
Rhonda.
Okay, thank you.
And when you get back, I want to go out with you for somewhere. With whoever.
Okay.
Miriam, you were saying something before we
Oh, just the obvious thing, like our motivation is our, to me, it's our heart. But what all the buzzing around us, like let's say part of us wants to be liked and part of us, my suggestion is not to pay attention to that if you know your real heart, because we are human and we're never gonna, otherwise we can slide into self-righteousness.
right.
I have to change my feelings. Maybe I'm doing this to show this or that.
Right.
Let that go. I have to do that. Let that go and know, like I know in my heart of hearts that I want to serve God, and that God is, like, there's nothing else more important than the reality and truth of God. There's nothing. And, but you can say about my high I, whatever the letter, doesn't matter. But as a human being, do I care what other people think? No, not me, not at all.
Of course, you're right.
So I'm saying, but let's make sure we don't descend into self-righteousness.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to have those things. But like, when they say, just let it go out, like water off your back. Say, okay, you're human. Hey, how are you? Goodbye. But in your heart of hearts that you want to serve God. And
exactly.
when you don't have that intent, like thing in your heart of hearts on a really deep level, you just know, people know also that you're not really wanting to serve God. You want all you want to go to it like a club, it's a social club, it's an identity of sorts, but this is much deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, our ego is our problem.
Exactly. But we just need to know.
But we need our ego, otherwise we wouldn't be who we are.
Exactly, but
it's a balance.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. We all have to struggle every day with that. You're right. And being obedient, sometimes we need to be obedient even when we don't want to.
But that's my point. Like, for example,
to a spoiler.
What?
Spoiler.
I didn't understand. Can you say it again? Alejandro, unmute you.
Our ego is too spoiler.
Too spoiled?
Spoiler.
Spoiler? No? What is that?
No, that's mean travieso. No. It's too like strong? A child.
Gâté en français.
Yeah. How do you say in English? Spoiled?
Yeah, spoiled. We're like little terrorists.
Little
exactly.
like when Rabbi would say terimoto. Yeah. We have to constantly tame the ego, but we don't want to lose it. We just want to bring it into balance.
Yeah.
We're not perfect. We mess up every single day, but we just have to keep going. Yeah, go ahead, Miriam. Sorry.
Well, no, my bottom line is if you spend too much time...
is the purpose of God. We are not perfect because the life is like that. We are growing like that. If we were perfect at the beginning, we don't need the God. We don't need growth. We don't need. Yes, that is marvelous. God is make it like that because it's for life. The life is for live.
Exactly. Exactly. And the little things. It's amazing how just like sometimes I'll get excited about just something that I'm doing around the house, like just making something a little more organized than it was before, or helping somebody that God brought in my path. It's just, these are the things, that's how we need to live. Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is if one dwells too much on trying to make their reactions, like, how come I'm not feeling this or not? Let that go, because that leads to self-righteousness. You can't make yourself, let's say somebody dies and for whatever reason, you don't really feel sad. You say, what's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. allow God to work in your life, and don't dwell on things. You know, it's different when you're committing things that are wrong. You have to change your behavior.
Right.
There's no doubt. But if you start saying that, how come, you know, when I do something like this, I also want, let's say, want attention. Okay, so all right, it's like a little kid. I just said, all right, the little kid in you, but your heart of hearts, that's why I say the heart of your heart is to serve God. There's no doubt about that. To me, that's you know, and that's something that's really important. Instead of, because I used to meet people like Zen Buddhists, or I still do, and I remember meeting this man, and there was something so, he was overly sweet and kind and gentle, and something was so unreal about him. I said, what is this? I mean,
Yeah.
and he would, you know, try and radiate like all goodness and sweetness, and I said, but is that real? Just be yourself, and with all the flaws. Anyway, there's a balance. Bottom line, it's a balance. But when we try too hard to say, why am I not feeling this? We can't really modulate our feelings. We could modulate what we do, and we can look at it and say, what's going on here? And that's another thing. We could do that.
Yeah, we have
Rather
to
than
look at
that,
our
it
feelings, because our
becomes-
feelings can lie to us.
Or our feelings could lie, but also sometimes, let's say, it's a reaction to something we haven't dealt with. Like, let's say we're feeling, I don't know, somebody you told me that you know who's very jealous all the time.
Right.
Okay, so you have to look like what is going on there. What hurt is that covering up?
Right.
I mean, that I think is a good thing to search
Well,
yourself.
Yeah, because
you know.
usually if you're jealous, you can't be happy for somebody else, what other people have. You're jealous, you feel you're lacking in some way.
But that's
So-
the bottom line. You
But
need
that
to
is the
get
bottom
that.
line. So
If
that's,
you're lacking in something,
yeah,
try and look for that, and look how you could heal, and whatever it is,
Yeah.
instead of saying, you know, how do I get this out? Why do I not want that person to have these things? You're
Yeah.
not going to get it out by just, you can't rearrange your own molecules. You
Yeah.
have to look at what the source is.
yeah. And that's a very important one. It happens to be the very final of the 10 Commandments. It's like the end of the book. Imagine ending the book with that 10th commandment that says, do not be jealous of anything that anyone has. Don't covet it. That's a powerful way of ending a book.
No, of course, but
Yeah.
no coveting, you do it by your actions. But
Yeah.
if inside you're jealous, if you're telling me about this person.
Well, you have to admit it. That begins with acknowledgement.
Exactly, but that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Acknowledge it.
But
if
that's
you
the
start
idea of
beating
search me.
yourself up for it, that you can't change unless you.
No, but we
know.
ask God to help us.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But
Because
sometimes when we talk like
Yeah.
this, people may be thinking like, oh, but I feel those things.
yeah,
That's okay, but examine it and have God. Yes, ask God to.
well,
help
I'm
you.
sorry if that's the impression that I
Not
give.
that you are giving it. It's given when you don't explore. When somebody says, "Don't covet, don't do this, don't honor your mother and your father," and inside you're saying, you know, I don't honor my mother, my mother or my father. They criticize me all my life. It's not. Again, it's back to, it's not just your feelings. You know, we could explore getting better, but if you don't love somebody, let's say your own mother, how can you imagine the guilt? It's treat her with honor, she's still your mother. But in terms of not loving your mother, you have to work on that. We can't
But
spend our life battering
exactly.
ourselves.
But that's where the element of the divine meets the physical.
Exactly, and that's
The
so
two have to work together. One
Yeah.
cannot be without the other.
No, but we tend to sometimes
Yeah,
try. Anyway, I think I made my point.
I
hope
think so
that's-
too. Okay, well, it was a good, beautiful message. I loved it, even if I gave it. And
No,
but I
it was a
honestly was
it a
inspired this week.
beautiful message.
Thank you. And I just pray that we can continue to learn and to grow and to walk. We need to get stronger and stronger as as evil abounds. And by the way, I did find that there's an article called The Times of Israel, and it says U.S. Jews on alert as white supremacists plan anti-Semitic day of hate on Saturday. So that must be today. To me, it's absolutely astonishing that this is happening again. And yet, if we look at what's going on in the world, at how many people are shaking their fists at God in every single area of our lives, I'm not surprised. The people who were called to bring the commandments to be a light to the nations are always going to be the ones who are attacked. The messenger is always going to be one who's shot, and especially when the messenger himself is not bringing the message. So we have a double-edged sword. Anyway, I want to wish everybody Shabbat Shalom. Rhonda, I wish you a safe, wonderful passage. I know you're not going to think of us at all when you're gone. And but we hope that you have a good time. Say hi to your mom for us, even though she can't stand me anymore ever since I told her what I believe. Send her my love. Maybe she's forgotten how upset she is with us.
With her mind right now, I'm sure she has.
Perfect. Say hi to Monica. And I hope that you have a really blessed time with your family.
Thank you.
You're going alone, Rhonda?
Pardon?
You're going alone?
Yes.
You alone.
Yeah, I'm going by myself.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
Baba and Sylvie are planning to go in the summertime. And you're thinking of going back in the summer, right?
Yeah, we're thinking of, David and I are thinking about August 14th, 2 weeks prior to Bubba and Sylvie, taking Shashi down so that she can see my mother for one last time, because we don't know what's going to happen with my mother.
There's no way of changing, Bubba and Sylvie changing to go all together?
I don't know.
Maybe it's a vacation. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Etid.
Thank you so much.
Shabbat Shalom,
Bye,
Yanet.
Shabbat Shalom.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Shalom.
Thank
Shabbat
you. Bye,
Shalom.
Trisha. Bye, Brian.
Bye, Peggy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Shabbat
Eti.
Shalom.
If you need information about Mildred or Mina, let me know. Okay.
Oh, yes, perfect.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.